The song is cool, I guess. Like, I don't really have much to say about it. I don't know if Doechii will ever be somebody that I just turn on and I just play their music. Yeah, like, but I ain't mad at it for real, for real. She's getting a lot of hate, especially from Aiden Ross. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But like, even though I'm moving on, like from like all of the hate that we used to harbor and we're taught to harbor as barbs and being skeptical to every female rapper who does something right. Like, I think like Doechii is doing exactly what Doechii needs to be doing. She's talking her shit. She is shaking up the game. Just days before New Year's, nobody expected anybody to drop anything. But Doechii came and she went up the streets, right? And she said what she had to say. So I'm here for it because if it was Nicki Minaj, we would be gagging. We would be here for it, right? And it reminds me of when Megan Thee Stallion won her first Grammy and she dropped the freestyle that night of the Grammys. It was recorded after the Grammys in her Grammy dress and stuff like that. And those are things that, I think artists need to do and should do in order, like just to like keep the game interesting and stuff like that. And so I think that, I mean, I guess 2026 is going to be a big year for Doechii. I think on the song that she said her album is already 6 months old. It needs a babysitter or something like that. So it seems like her album is done, which is good. And if this is a single for the album, then this is a good move as well. I think the album should come at the very latest by the second quarter of the year. And it probably will at the beginning of the second quarter because, this is her first step. So it says, SZA shows love to Doechii, calling her the GOAT, right? As the TDE duo released their new a collaboration, Girl Get Up. So I'm gonna like walk you through a little bit of what some hip hop media heads also had to say. So Low Key, which is one of the guys who has the show on Apple Music with Ebro, he tweeted Doechii drew the line in the sand. And it's so interesting because someone commented on here and said like, do you ever explain your tweets? And so I found this interesting because I think when he said that, what I'm thinking about is like, Doechii is drawing that line in the sand verse, like saying like, oh, I'm a real artist, I'm a real rapper, I could do anything, like to shake up the game at any time or whatever. So I think like that's what he's referring to because I do think that Doechii gives a certain energy when she does something like this, right? Okay, cool. We got our trims, we got our YK nieces, we got our Megan Thee Stallions or whatever. But you know that when Doechii drop or when Doechii do something, we coming back to the heart and soul of hip hop, of artistry, of music and stuff like that. So once again, I'm not necessarily, I really shouldn't be trying to break him down because bitch, I don't know him and I don't even watch his content like that. I'm just telling you what I get from, when Doechii does something or whatever. You guys let me know what you think about that. And she also, this release was obviously intentional to mark the end of the era that she was in with her Alligator Bites Never Heal mixtape that got her first rap Grammy, rap album of the year or whatever. So it signifies the cover of the single with the braids cut off at the bottom with the beads on it signifies the end of that era because that whole era and the aesthetic for the era was the what's it called the braids. Let me just say braids or whatever, right? And so she's cutting that off and shedding her skin for what's to come. So Ebro says, hip hop, thank you, Doechii. Okay. So now a lot of fans are under those tweets like, oh my God, this is trash. Y'all hype up anything or whatever. So, I mean, like, it's like, I kind of agree, but like, I don't know. Like there's a lot of course, Drake fans, Nicki fans, Young Money fans feel like Doechii is whack or, the music isn't good. It's like I'm in the middle because it's like you're never gonna hear me just sit up playing Doechii, but it's like I'll listen to it and I kind of have to force myself to listen to it because like I don't really care too much. I hate to say that because I feel like it's so bad, but yeah, like that's just kind of how I feel. Definitely expect a Kendrick Lamar feature on her project. I think Doechii has been looking so good on tour, with Kendrick in Australia. And if you looked at Olu, let me show you something real quick. Hold on. I'm gonna fast forward to the end of the music video. As the video was ending and the cinematography is panning out, it shows her on the top of the stadium. And I don't hope this doesn't get copyrighted on YouTube, but as it pans out, it shows her. This is obviously before Kendrick Lamar goes on stage or before the tour starts. And even during the tour, there were posts on the timeline going around that people were noticing Doechii on the top of the stadium and they were just, like just filming her and shit like that. And so as I was watching this last night and it was panning out, to me, it represents the evolution of time. Or, for example, I think this is a profound statement. When you look at this, and it's panning out. This is a stadium in Australia where the crowd is gathered to see Kendrick Lamar, right? And they don't know, or they do know, that Doechii is going to open the show. But what I think this signifies is that in one day, this will be Doechii's stage. One day, she will be taking stadiums around the world. And it's coming from the same camp. It's coming from the same label. It's coming from TDE. TDE is pushing out rap superstars who bring us back to the essence of rap and what hip hop was founded for. And so I think that this is a really powerful statement. And I'm here for it. Like, I may not care for Kendrick or SZA or Doechii or whatever, but at the end of the day, I got to give it up to them and say that they are doing exactly what they need to do for their artists. And I just can't be mad at it. Like, you could probably hear, like, within me, I can't lie, I'm a little salty because Young Money will forever be the best to ever do it. And they do have that cultural impact. But if we talk about labels, right? Labels, the strength of the label, I used to say, nah, Young Money is the best. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the label, when it comes to the business structure, nobody is seeing TDE right now. No other hip hop label is seeing TDE. And I'm not even just, I'm not even talking about music. I'm talking about how they run their business. And this is actually another conversation that I want to have, so I can think about it more and come with more talking points or whatever. But it's the fact that their artists are sprinkled throughout the business, right? So, for example, the Young Money crew was signed to Young Money and Cash Money, Young Money Republic, right? So all of the artists were just on one label, Republic UMG. Whereas TDE, all of their artists are on separate labels. So, for example, SZA is TDE RCA. Doechii is TDE Capital. Kendrick was TDE Interscope. So what they've done is, although they are in the same bigger wheelhouse of the UMG family, the strongest label system in the business, they're still not banking on just one label and their resources and their team to push their artists. It's like you're sprinkling your DNA into different facets, into other different structures of the business, so that only that, like, for example, with Young Money, Republic has to make sure that they're doing what they need to do to push their artists. Rather, TDE functions as the nucleus, and if you think about it as an octopus, and you spread your tentacles into different places, so that you can become stronger rather than just depending on one rock to hold you up, right? If this label is slacking with this artist, rather, you can't slack with this artist because we only gave you one artist. And it's not even really about that, because I've heard a Punch talk about it, but it's like, what they do is they do what's best for their artists. So instead of signing all of their artists to one label like Young Money did with Republic, they're going to different labels and saying, like, okay, why is this the right fit for Doechii? Why is this the right fit for SZA? Why is this the right fit for Kendrick? So that they can make sure that they are the priority and they get the specific attention that they need. And I think that that is what really sets TDE apart, and it's what has them remaining strong, because they're not just depending on one label for their resources. They got a lot of labels in their back pocket, and so that means they have a lot of industry support in different teams, and once again, they're working out of the UMG family as well. So I think that this is another conversation, of once again, a bigger conversation I want to have when it comes to Young Money versus TDE. Unfortunately, I got to give it to TDE. They're going to win the war when it comes to longevity, because of that, right? Because they're giving their artists exactly what they need versus just only putting their artists on one label and using whatever resources come with that one label.
It's your girl Vina Love, the Harlem Princess, your favorite princess, and this is Destiny Villa.
Period.